We've covered several Nintendo games over the course of this show, but there's one franchise that's been long overdue. It's the 25th anniversary of this series this year, but unlike a certain Hylian hero, Nintendo's turned the cold shoulder to this bounty hunter. So we'll do what Nintendo don't. It's time to finally explore some of the mysteries behind the Metroid games, but don't get your hopes up for any glimpses at nude Samus. Instead, we're sticking with the original NES classic. We all know that underneath the helmet of the hero we all mistakenly called Metroid at one point is one of gaming's most iconic female leads, Samus Aran. You've probably heard that within the depths of planet Zebes, there are some hidden areas that can't be accessed by normal means. Or at least, that's what the stories and videos out there claim. Apparently, if you use a well-known glitch, Samus can reach secret worlds. Is this mere science fiction? Virtually every single source out there gives you the same instructions on how to access these supposed secret areas, including a snippet from an old issue of Nintendo Fun Club. Simply go to a certain area of planet Zebes, and then use something known as the door jump to make your way up through solid walls and ceilings into new locations. To perform the door jump, simply open a door and then step into the passage without crossing over to the next room. Wait for the door to close on you, and then alternate between pressing up and down on the D-pad. Make sure you don't go into your morph ball form, otherwise you can get stuck and you'll have to reset your game. If you did this correctly, Samus will scale up through the wall. Once you're near the top of the screen, press the button to jump to scroll the camera up, and then repeat these steps to make your way up. Using this glitch in certain spots in Norfair, Brinstar, Kraid's hideout, and Ridley's hideout supposedly allows you to access areas of the game originally intended to be playable, but were ultimately left hidden off-screen and unfinished due to time constraints. It seems one of Samus's most useful abilities isn't a formal power-up in Metroid after all. In no time, we were glitching our way through countless walls, though the majority of our attempts ended with us getting stuck in some way or another. However, in a few key areas, there was something other than a dead end that waited. In these rare instances, we were able to access areas of the game that clearly were not on your map, yet were identical to other areas and screens we had previously seen. However, were these actually secret levels? NOA staff member Dan Osen, known better to Metroid fans as the voice heard during the opening of Super Metroid,
"The last Metroid is in captivity,"
has this to say about the secret worlds. Well, without asking the programmers or designers, I'd have to say that most of these things are glitches that fortunately worked out to be cool. There are obviously intentional secrets in Metroid though. Mr. Osen was in Japan during the development of Super Metroid and got to talk extensively with current Metroid series director and producer Yoshio Sakamoto, as well as other Metroid staff members. Though his remarks indicated these environments weren't intentionally left in the game by the developers, it didn't quite explain their existence, so the question of exactly why these areas exist still remained. The fans over at Metroid Database also wondered the same thing and spent over a year, from 1997 to 1998, researching the secret worlds. They uncovered numerous examples of the hidden areas accessed by the door jump, but Kent Hansen, aka Snowbro, put all the pieces together. Using tools that allowed him to hack the Metroid ROM, he unearthed the technical reasons why you could reach the secret worlds, and that sadly, these worlds weren't very secret. Basically, each room in Metroid is programmed onto the ROM in a specific location. When you move between screens, you're actually loading into another room. It's sort of like The Legend of Zelda, which stores its overworld map and dungeons in two specific grid-based areas, and then all of those rooms are accessed by either screen warps when Link reaches the end of the screen, or tile warps when he steps on specific spots, like a staircase. The difference here is that all of the screen transitions are based on Samus's position. Each screen is assigned a value, and moving each direction increases or decreases that value. This means when we were going up the screen vertically, we were doing something the programmers hadn't intended. The game still increases or decreases the value, but your location is no longer valid, like clipping out of bounds in a 3D game. Usually games have other ways to deal with this, like resetting you back to a stable point, but other times the game will simply crash. However, in rare cases like this, the game loads actual content, thus making the areas accessible and playable. Also, in a few instances, the door jump takes you to valid areas of the map, but the game still acts a bit odd. That's because there are actually two sets of data being accessed when loading a screen, map data and room data. In this case, the game is loading the correct map data, but at the same time, it's loading the incorrect room data. The most famous of these examples is the area you can reach above Ridley's hideout. It's Norfair map data that uses Ridley's hideout room data. The door jump prevents the correct room data from being loaded because the memory banks didn't switch over, which was achieved in Metroid via the loading time while traveling in the elevator shaft. By using the door jump, it is indeed possible to access new areas of Metroid, but thanks to dedicated Metroid fans like Kent Hansen, we now know that they are merely glitches and not actually unfinished zones originally planned for the game.